go before you at many times. Okay, so I just wanted to pinpoint that out, guys. You really do. It's not just, oh, your family trying to bring you down. This your haters, your so-called friends. No, boo. You looking at a whole entire world that sometimes get a thrill out of wanting to see you fail. It is that deep, guys. That deep. Okay, so the lesson in that part is that when you're achieving success, you have to have, and if you weaken some areas, you got to develop that character. You got to. You got to practice that thing. You got to develop it, because those people use those things against you and they love to use it. But that's not the only thing. Sometimes people use spiritual energy to try to catch you off guard so they can do what they need to do to you. You got to be aware, guys, right? Right? Okay. Now, on the flip side of that, sometimes when you have stardom, you have a lot of access that others don't have. You have a lot of perks that others don't have. This is what I want to say. Back in the day, so you have to remember, things have gotten totally different. And it's not in the name of justice like you think it is. It's in the name of take all our comps down. You understand what I'm saying? On a worldwide level. Everything ain't about justice like you would think it is. So you have to remember, you have to really remember this one thing. Everybody's not treated the same. A lot of stars or a lot of people, when you're dealing with stardom, sometimes they get away with a lot of stuff, right? So back during times, you can kind of buy your way out of stuff. You can kind of say, hey, I'll work a deal with you. I can do this. And people would do that because they wanted the perks. They wanted the money. That's not what people want anymore. Now they want your life. Do you understand that? Like, they want you to come down. They want you to be most embarrassed as they can be. They want you to be down. They want everybody to see it. They want to catch you in whatever they caught you in. So it's different, guys. It ain't that time where you can buy yourself out no more. So now you got to develop that character. You know, back in the day, you know, a lot of people who didn't have no money, they just got thrown to the wolves. And people who had money, they just could buy their way out. You understand what I'm saying? Both were probably doing the same thing. One just couldn't get away and the other one could not. And then you have to understand, even in sports or any type of high profile careers, we see people with all this money, all this success, but you fail to realize certain people in the earth is targeted while certain people are not. Certain people in this earth is targeted while certain people are not. Certain people get away with speed. There are so many people be speed. I am be speed. They don't never get bothered. But I do want to hit on this though. You know how it says all things work together for my good. All things work together, baby, for your good. And in this case, when we look at Sha'Carri Richardson speeding, how does that work together for her good? Number one, she has to go through that, right? I don't know what the judges are going to say. She pled not guilty, but I do know this. Let's just say Sha'Carri was out there and she did that. Let's just say she killed someone. What do you think will become of her career? That would be something that can throw her in a penitentiary. That would be something to say, yeah, we got you now. We got you with that weed. We got you out then. You came back strong. Yeah, we got you with that dude. Yeah. But you still coming back. Just imagine if you was speeding. You know you wasn't trying to kill nobody. You know that wasn't your intention. You know that. But if that would have happened, that wouldn't have been so easy, sweetheart. All things work together for your good, for my good, who truly, truly loves the Creator. And then even for those in the world who don't, the Creator is good to the just and the unjust alike at many times in our lifetime. I'm saying? So those are even lessons that people have to learn, that yes, you had no intention to drive dangerously and recklessly. That wasn't in your mind, but that was in the law's mind. And that's what could have been used against you. And that's why that law is treated differently. But let's just say somebody would have set it all up, got in front of you, all that stuff would have happened, anything. A child or a baby would have died, anything. So that is something that has been an intervention in her life. Because remember, she's doing this race car stuff and all of this. Then you think you can get out there. You know, the enemy trying to set you up, talk you into stuff, and you ain't paying attention. You just having fun. And there'll be those interventions. You see what I'm saying? And then something ends up happening. You got to be careful. So you got to think about it in a true holistic way. You got to be careful. Is that real, y'all? I look at that situation as an intervention, but I also look at it at many different levels, because when you have such success like that, it's brutal. Like, it's brutal. There are people so looking to bring you down. There are people that do that every day. They don't even stop them. They don't even care. If they crash, good. You gone, you burnt. Next. You understand what I'm saying? And then sometimes they will be targeting people, which they are. Remember, it's the evil part, targeting those, letting others get away, and then targeting those. But yet it's working for your good. Because if you keep doing that, you'll get out there and they'll set it all up. And then next thing you know, you in prison. Do you understand what I'm saying? For something you was never, ever trying to do. So I look at it in all different ways. It's true, y'all. It's true. And we know people, all them people doing all that talking, you know they been speeding in their lifetime. Folks just love to talk about folks. Y'all know how that go. They just love to talk about people, y'all. Okay? Everybody wants to be successful. That's just true, guys. Me, you, everybody. And the truth is, we're already successful. If you're on that journey of pursuing what you want to do, you may haven't achieved it all yet. I mean, you just may haven't. You know what I'm saying? That's just a fact. But you know that you're looking at things manifest. You looking at things saying, wow, you know, you're looking at the things that you've been working toward, and you're beginning to go from that place of idea, and you're looking at your work and what you can do and your possibilities. But you have to understand, others are looking at you and they want you out. That's before you become successful. And the battle is excruciating for some and not that hard for others. And then you have those that have gotten a great success. Oh, you think they just stop at that? No, boo. You building these empires, you got assets, you got real estate, you got this, you doing this. You happy, you praising God for everything you got, and people are seething. Y'all don't understand that. People are seething, y'all. They seething. They see when you got a little talent and you ain't made nothing yet. They be like, dang. And then when you start accumulating, and this is where the crux happen. And this is why I tell people all the time, be so careful. You think you got this sisterhood and this brotherhood, I can just do what I want to do and we just get away with it? Baby, if you fool yourself like that, you a fool. Because even they can turn on you at any point in time. Guys, you got to wake up. They're waiting. You build up all these assets. You finally make the millions. You finally got the success. You finally on the covers. You finally this. You finally that. Or maybe you don't want that type of lifestyle. Maybe you just finally want to live private, but you finally got your income like you want to. Finally got the house you want to. And then you just think you can sneak and do stuff behind closed doors, not recognizing that people want your head and your hand, baby. They don't just want what's in your hand. They want your head. They want you cut off. They want you cut off. No, that doesn't subtract from what she was done. That's why I said it's all working for good. No, I didn't say that she was just out there, should be doing what she wanted to do. Don't twist my words. What I'm saying is look at the bigger picture. It's always bigger than what you think it is. And there is lessons to learn in all this stuff, guys. All of it. Don't ever get it twisted. Sometimes we gotta check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Y'all know that check yourself before you wreck yourself. Y'all remember that? But anyway, in that instance, that is something that Sha'Carri is going to have to go reflect on. Let me tell you something, guys. You have to understand the energy that this young lady operates in. She is continually in a speed mode, not just in her mind sometimes, but in her energy, in her thoughts, in her movement, all of that, right? But there's something where she got to go self-reflect. She also got to admit to herself that I was speeding. Now, what the reasons are, I don't have the full answers. You understand what I'm saying? People can look and say, nah, she knows she was speeding. She was just making all them excuses. Y'all, there is so much going on in our world. People, listen. There is so much. It could be distractions going on. It could be so many things going on. It could be, energy, dealing with energy. Y'all, it's deeper than what you think it is, right? But yet, nonetheless, no matter all the battles, we still have to self-reflect. I have to do it. You have to do it. Sometimes I sit within myself and I be thinking certain things that I know that I need to work on. We all have that, right? We all have that. Because it is those things that are such loopholes that our enemies use. They want you to have an attitude. I'll give you an example. I remember there was a time that I would be in professional business, right? I've worked in corporate all my life. And I remember people would shun me and they would do it on purpose. And then when people would show up, they would purposely act like they were speaking. And I remember I would just get like I wouldn't say nothing back, but I would be looking like, And then once everything settled down, you got this attitude, right? Knowing that you're not the one with the attitude. But people know how to play on you. They look for crack holes. They look for loopholes. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to sit down and I had to self-examine. I had to look at myself and say, okay, I see the game they playing, but I also have to understand, what do I decide? Not what game I play, but what rules do I decide to play by? And you know what my rules is? I said, listen here. If I have no professional obligations to you and you ain't paying me and you ain't helping me and you not better in my life, I don't care who you is. I don't have to play a game with you. If you didn't speak yesterday and you want to pretend to speak today because people are there, I don't have to speak to you. I don't have to have an attitude with you, but I don't have to speak to you either. And guess what? I don't have to spend 1,000 years explaining. Because if you got to explain to all them people that was looking at you, all those people was trying to set you up for the kill anyway. So you don't want those types of people. I don't want those types of people in my life. I just don't like that. Nobody wants to live like that. But I understood this one thing. If you have a professional obligation, you understand what I'm saying? And you're in an environment and somebody do that, you got to like what they do. You got to put that smile on and smile anyway and keep on going. Even though you know people behind closed doors doing crazy stuff they have no business doing. And so I had to decide that's how I choose to be. You're not going to lock me up in a box and make me fake. You're just not going to do it. Want me be cheesy with you while you be cheesy. You fooling the world. You doing dirt to me behind closed doors. And then you fooling the world. You know what I'm saying? No, boo. We ain't going to ring like that. I'm going to leave them thinking in their mind, well, why come she didn't speak? And then I'm going to let them gossip about the attitude. And then when the truth finally comes out, then everybody will try to pretend, okay, we see why. No, you knew why. You was just trying to set it up. I just didn't have time to play the game. You understand what I'm saying? So what I mean is there's all these snares and tears and traps and wares, and people look for the loopholes in you because they want you to fail. They want you to fail. So my thing with this that I wanted to talk about with Sha'Carri is not that she was speeding. We all can see that she was speeding. That's not the thing. And she has to deal with that before the courts, and she has to go self-reflect for herself. But what I want to remind you of is great success got some great enemies. And I've witnessed it in her life. I witnessed people talk about that young lady like she was trash. I'm talking about straight up. And she was in the beginning of coming on the scene. We getting to see who she really is. She always been that track star. LSU all that. But we really just getting to see who she is. I'm not a weed person. Everybody know me. If I go out in the streets right now, they puffing all that weed, honey, I don't even want to hear that. Get on out my face. Because some people just like to blow that in your face for the heck of blowing it in your face, trying to drag you down, trying to make you look bad. Baby, I'm too honest for them. Go on about your business, boo. But there's a difference between somebody having a happenstance and somebody dealing with this stuff and dealing with issues versus somebody trying to take weed and get you on drugs and drag you down and mock you. When she got that weed, the enemy knew what it was doing. It knew that she was coming up for that Olympic thing. She just didn't recognize it. Bam, out the game. When they knew that they was finna go to sports and go do what they do, and it was the grace, of the guy who said, nah, I ain't trying to press charges or nothing like that. If he would have pressed charges, she would have went to jail. You understand that? Do you understand that? The young lady probably would have went to jail, but they was right on their way to the thing to go do their game. Bam, something always there. Now you on your way. I'm not for sure what they say she was on her way to, but I know there's something else coming up for her to get ready to do. Bam. Do you understand? So guys, be sharper, be smarter, be brighter, and be bolder. I hope this episode spoke to you today in some type of way. Just a reminder to remind you that success, whether you're here or you're over the rainbow, or if you're here, trying to keep you down, trying to keep you from going here And then once you get there, trying to come to where you at and take you down. Do you understand that? And don't ever think that jealous people are just people that don't have anything and they hating on everybody else. Most of the time, the people that hate you the most are people that have way more than you. They have cars, this, success, money, all of that. And you little old you trying to put something together. This is true. You hear a lot of people say it on the internet. They all copy what each other got to say. But anyway, it's very, very true. People have always taught that success was crab in the barrels, but they never told you about the barrel. That there's many crabs in the barrel. Those at the bottom, those in the middle, on top of them, and then those at the top of the barrel, and those who crawled out of the barrel. And those who crawled out of the barrel, who are jealous spirited because money and success doesn't change you, they always looking back in the barrel trying to see who coming up. And then those who are right there on the top are always looking down at them, trying to see where you going. And then those that are beneath you are always tugging at your little feet every time you're trying to make a little crawl up there. So don't think that the crabs was just the people that didn't have nothing. That's the biggest lie they ever told you. And if you live long enough in this life, you know that. Key insights. I'm going to leave you with 3. Support can be double-edged. When people surround an athlete with unconditional praise, it can strengthen confidence. But without accountability, it enables poor decisions. Also, on the opposite of that, when you get great success, if you're not careful, there's always this thing trying to pull you down. Insight number 2, jealousy and narrative flip, right? So there is always these entities that are trying to flip the script on you, trying to bring you down, but they got to make it look like you are the one. So you got to be careful of your environments, the energy you're dealing with, all the different things you're going through. Key insight number 3, talent doesn't always equal wise choices. You understand that? So remember, as our talent expands, we also got to work on our character. I hope this episode at TCLN has been a blessing to you. Again, it's always my goal to educate, to elevate. We do not chase chaos. I do not chase the chaos in news. What I do is I look at the chaos in news and then I take it and I educate, guys. If you've ever felt like that you've worked so hard and everything moves fast and everything goes fast, but you haven't reached the potential to bring out and to start bringing out that vision or that goal or that idea that you know that's within you, and you've been letting all these distractions get in the way as you try to pull forward, something keep trying to pull you back, I want you to check out my TCLN Clarity Intensive. It is a 4-week intensive and it is designed to bring in the clarity, bring in the focus, narrow everything down, and to make a strategic plan that is just for you. You don't want to copy other people's cookie cutter plans. That's why a lot of times things don't work either. We keep trying to copy what other people do, but it's not strategic to who we are. Do you understand that? So check that out. And with all of that being said, guys, stay safe. Make sure you're not speed. And if you're walking, make sure you're watching them lights, because them enemies work when you're walking too, baby. But anyway, y'all have a blessed one, okay? This is TCLN. I'm IBK. As Dan Rather would say, courage, my friends, courage. This is leadership clarity, not just judgment. And right here on TCLN, I like to educate to elevate. But let me stop for a moment before we get into today's topic and do a deep dive. I want to introduce to you my new TCLN Clarity Intensive. You see, a lot of us, we just kind of go through life, right? We go through life, we kind of stumble, and we have these dreams, we have these great ideas of having a business, of owning a company, a big company, small company, it doesn't matter. Or we have dreams of grandeur, of just taking these ideas and just catapulting them. But many times we don't know where to start, or if we know what to start, we don't have support. And if we don't have support, then we don't have the finances. And then sometimes it's just all of that. Not to mention, then you have all of the adversaries trying to tell you who you can be and who you cannot be. And so with that being said, I want to share with you that I struggled many years going through that. I understood that I was made for more. I understood I had these big dreams, these big goals, but I really didn't understand how to make them happen. It held me back many years. And even when I began to see how to make them happen, I had to deal with, let me explain to you, like they said, new level, new devil, they're not lying. So then I had to deal with all kinds of obstacles and all kinds of things. But you know what I learned the most out of all of these situations, and not only building my platform of TCL network, but also the journey of entrepreneurship. You know what I really truly learned? I learned that clarity, focus, and not only that, having a solid plan that is unique to you. I'm not talking about any kind of plan. I'm not talking about a plan that somebody hands you. I'm not talking about you sit down and you write a couple of things down, or you use Chat GPT and you just think it's over. No, I'm talking about a plan that is so solid, that is so uniquely you for the next 90 days that can catapult you forward. If you're looking for something like that, make sure you check in the description below. See you next
Thank you for tuning in to TCLN Network, Austin Public. TCLN Network is independently produced by IBK Media Productions. To support TCLN Network financially, visit paypal.me/TCLN Network, also TCLN Channel Podcasts. To learn more about TCLN Network, visit thecreativeleadershipnetwork.com and follow on all socials, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at IBK Media Works.